Hey everyone, Miss Aislison here. Today we're going to be working on note sheet number 1, systems notes, and this is just a review of graphing. We've done this before, but just to bring your mind back in it. When you graph, you have to be in this y equals mx plus b. So go ahead and put that in your notes. Okay, so it has to be in that formula in order to be able to graph. Remember, when you graph, this b part is where it goes on the line on your y-axis, and this m part is your slope. So it's going to be where you're going up or down based on what your slope is right there. Okay, so let's look at number 1 and graph that one. Try to make that a little bit bigger there. Okay, so I'm going to look at my b. My b is going to be this positive, oops, that's the wrong color. Let's try this yellow color just so they're consistent. That positive 3. That positive 3 is going to go, my first dot's going to go on that y-axis right there. So I'm going to first put my first dot on a positive 3. And then this is my slope right here. So that tells me from there, I'm either going to go up or down and left or right. If they're both positive, positive means up and to the right. So from that first dot, I'm going to go up and to the right. So I'm going to go up. Hold on, I'm trying to get my pen. There we go. Up 1, 2, 3, and then to the right 2. And if I can't go up and to the right, I'm going to go down 3 and to the left 2. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I can go one more. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, and that ends right there. When it says equals, equals mean you're going to just connect all those points. Okay, so we just graphed that first one. Let's look at number 2. Number 2, we're going to start out the same, where we start out with that being our number we plot on here. Notice, because it's 1/2 x minus 4, that minus 4 is actually a negative 4. So we're going to put our first dot on negative 4. And then from there, this is telling us what to do. I'm looking at that 1/2. They're all positive, so I'm going to go up 1 to the right 2 and make a point. Up 1 to the right 2, make a point. Up 1 to the right 2 and make a point. If I can't go up and to the right anymore, then I'm going to go from my initial dot on negative 4, my point on negative 4, and I'm going to go down 1 to the left 2, down 1 to the left 2. And then because it says equals, we're going to connect. And that didn't connect super well, but you get the idea. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing with number 3. We're going to find our b value. Our b is what's at the very end. And we're going to plot that right on that y-axis. Okay, when I look in front of my x, I just have, whoops, sorry about that. I just have this negative right here. Okay, so it's not really telling me anything. If there's no number in front of the x, the number is really 1. And because you have a negative there, it's going to be a negative 1. So I'm going to go ahead and put that 1 in front. So now you know it's a negative 1. If you don't have the bottom number, it's going to be over 1. So I'm going to start my first point on negative 4. And then I'm going to go down 1 because it's a negative 1. But that bottom number, the denominator, when I do the negative 1 over 1, that bottom denominator is positive. So we still have to go to the right. So I'm going to go down 1 to the right 1. Down 1 to the right 1. And if I can't go down and to the right, then I'm going to do the opposite. So the opposite of going down 1 and to the right 1 is going up 1 and then to the left 1. So I'm going to go on my negative 4. I'm going to go up 1 to the left 1. Up 1 to the left 1. And then I'll keep that same line. And then I'm just going to connect all those points. All right, let's look at our last one here. Okay, so we know it has to be y equals mx plus b. When I look at number 4, I have 2y. So y is not all by itself. When a letter and a number are right next to each other, they're being multiplied. So we're going to do the opposite. We're going to divide. So I'm going to divide this by 2. And if I divide that by 2, I have to divide this by 2. And I have to divide this by 2. So there's our both sides of our line. Now I'm given y equals 6 divided by 2 is going to give me a 3. I still have an x. And 4 divided by 2 is going to give me a 2. So now I'm using that bottom equation, y equals 3x plus 2, and I'm going to plot that. So again, I'm going to start on my b value. That b value is going to go right here. So I'm going to start with a positive 2. So my positive 2 goes right here. And then I have a positive 3. I don't have my bottom, so I'm just going to put it over 1. All of those are positive, so I'm going to go up and to the right. So I'm going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, to the right 1. I can't go up 3 and to the right anymore, so now I'm going to go to my positive 2, my first point. I'm going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then to the left 1. And then I'm going to connect those points. And you're just going to keep going with both of them until you have it all. Oops, sorry, I'm terrible about getting my lines in there. Until you have it all graphed out. Okay, we have 2 more that look like that last one, like number 4, where y isn't by itself. So we have to get y by itself. So we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to move this 5x minus 2y equals 15. I'm going to move it over a little bit just so I have a little bit more room. So I'm going to rewrite it right here on the left. I'm going to say, where do I want to put it? Right here. 5x minus 2y equals 15. Okay, remember we want only our y on our left-hand side, so I got to get rid of this x, so it's a positive 5x. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides. Remember, you want y equals mx plus b, and because it's the x first, I'm going to keep this negative 2y. Don't forget your negative in front. I'm going to say equals. I can't combine my 15 and my negative 5x because those are different terms. One has an x and one doesn't. Because it's y equals mx plus b, I'm going to put that negative 5x first, and then it's a positive 15. And actually, I think we're going to change this a little bit, otherwise it's not going to land. I'm going to make this let's make this a 14. 14 and 14. Otherwise, it's going to graph funny, and we don't want that. Make that a 14 and make this a 14. Okay, now I'm going to divide by negative 2. I'm sorry to do this, but we're going to make this 5x, let's make that a 4x. Actually, I'm just going to rewrite it. Let's just rewrite that one. Okay, so do not write that first one. Instead, we're going to do this. So sorry if I made you erase what you just had. Oops, now I'm doing it again. Let's do 4x minus 2y equals 14. Okay, so don't use this one. Let's use this next one here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing. I'll just go through this quickly. I'm going to take away 4x from both of them. The reason I did that, we would have had decimal numbers, and decimal numbers are hard to graph. And I think that's silly that we had this as a decimal number on a note sheet, so we're going to fix that. Okay, so now I have negative 4x plus 14. To get rid of that negative 2, I'm going to divide by a negative 2, divide by a negative 2, and divide by a negative 2. So now I get y equals a negative and a negative turn into positive. So this is just going to be a 2x. And then 14 divided by negative 2 is going to give you a negative 7. If you have a positive and a negative, you keep the negative. So now that we have that, now we can go ahead and graph. Okay, so my first dot is going to go on, and I probably should have picked a different number, but this will work actually. It's saying negative 7. Ours only goes to negative 6, so we're just going to put our first dot that's just kind of out down here hanging. This is where negative 7 would have been. And then we're going to graph this piece right here. It has a 2. It's positive. It doesn't have a bottom number, so I'm going to go over 1. So when I count, I'm going to start with my first point that's on negative 7, and I'm just going to go up 2, which brings me up to negative 5, and then to the right 1. And now we're on the graph. Up 2, right 1. And then I'm just going to connect those together. Okay, we're going to do the same thing with number 6. So I'm going to rewrite y minus 3 equals, I have, whoops, not that, 2 out front of my parenthesis, so 2 parenthesis x minus 4. Okay, the first thing we're going to have to do on our right side is distribute. So I'm going to distribute that 2 to the x and to the negative 4. So that's going to give me 2x minus 8. So 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. And I still have this y minus 3 right here. I want that y all by itself, so I'm going to add a 3 on my left side. That takes care of my 3 on my left side. When I add it to my right, it has to be added to that 8 because doesn't have an x on it. It's our constant. So I'm going to say y equals 2x, and that's going to be a minus 5. Now that y is all by itself, I can go ahead and take this negative 5. That's where I'm going to plot it right here. So my first dot goes on negative 5. And then from there, I'm going to go up 2 to the right 1. Because I have this right here. I'm given a 2 to the right 1. So I'm going to go up 2 to the right 1. And I can't go up anymore, and I can't go down anymore, so now I can just connect those. All right, you are set to work on your first note sheet reviewing the graphing review. So it'll be assignment number 1, graphing review.